Hello guys and welcome, it is Zobby2Dude here today, bringing you yet another Splatoon 2 video, because today we are going to be going through the patch comparisons for version 2.3 to version 3.0. So let's just get started. I'm not going to read out the full, patch notes for each buff and nerf, but I'm basically just going to give, just the what you really need to know about it. So anyways, let's get started. So starting with the 96 scale, decreased trajectory variance of the first shot. In short, basically the 96, RNG has been changed, or the method of RNG has been changed, so it shoots a little bit different now. For the Lunar Blaster, it's much easier to be able to paint under your feet while shooting. For the L3 nozzle nodes, it's the exact same thing. It is now more likely for ink to go under your feet when you're firing. As you see in version 3.0, there's ink under my feet, but it seems like you have to shoot twice for this to happen. For the Squeezer, it is now 10% more ink efficient while you're shooting in the painting mode. As you see in version 3.0, you will notice that I am painting still just for at least a second more. And also, the painting mode has about 4% extra range, so you can be a little bit more consistent if you are trying to take out somebody using this. For the Dynamo Roller, the ink droplets for the horizontal fling output a little bit more ink, so as you see in version 3.0, there's just a little bit more ink, not too significant. But for the Flingzer Roller, there has been damage changes with the horizontal flick specifically, as you see in version 3.0 and version 2.3 as well. I'm at this very same range, but in 3.0 I output just a little bit more damage. For the ink brush, you now produce more ink droplets when you're swinging, so as you can see in version 3.0, the ink is a lot thicker, so it's basically much better at painting than it was before. For the Squiffer, Splat Charger, Elite to 4K, and GooTuber, it is now easier to paint under your feet, or pretty much any time you fire, you will always have ink under your feet, as you see in version 3.0. In all four of these examples, there is always paint under my feet after I shoot. For the Bamboozler, the maximum damage for a charged shot has been changed from 80 to 85. Simple. For the Glugadorties, there is now increased firing range after performing a dodge roll by roughly 13%. As you see, they both roll in the same place, but in version 3.0, I'm actually able to hit the dummy from that very same spot. For Splatbrella, the ink droplets now produce more ink when they hit the surface. Not a great example, but trust me on this, that the Splatbrella is now better at painting. For the Tent Umbrella, when you open your tent up, it outputs much more ink around your feet, and once it's launched, as you can see in version 3.0, there's a much thicker line of ink that's being produced. And also you regain your umbrella 1 second faster in version 3.0. For the Splash Ball, once you throw your Splash Ball out, it now will deploy 15 frames faster, which is really nice. It's not as close to how it was in Splatoon 1, but closer than it was before. You are now able to throw another wall once you already have one wall deployed. So as you can see in these two examples, version 3.0, I'm able to throw my next wall instantly, but in version 2.3, I was not able to throw my wall because there was already one deployed. When throwing a wall on a ramp or on an upward slope, the Splash Ball still reacts the same way how it was in version 2.3, but I'm just showing these two examples just to show you that if you throw the wall on the slope, it takes long, and if you throw it on the surface, it takes a little amount of time for it to be deployed. With Ink Mines, you are now able to substrafe. As you can see, I am much faster than I was in version 2.3, and I'm kind of substrafing all over the place in version 3.0. Curling bombs are much different now. If you throw a curling bomb instantly, it will go very far, as it always has done, but the explosion will be much less lethal, as you see in the version 3.0's example. However, if you hold the R button much longer, the explosion will be much bigger, but will take longer for you to also regain ink. For sprinklers, they are pretty much weaker in 3.0, as they do not output as much ink as they used to, especially when they are also put on higher ground. As you can see in the version 3.0 example, the circle of ink that has been sprayed out is much smaller than the one in version 2.3. They are 20% more durable to everything, but have some differences with things like Stingray Blaster, L3 Nozzle Nose, etc. This also applies with Squid Beacons as well. Although I'm not going to show it in this video, they follow the same traits of durability as sprinklers do. For Curling Bomb Rush, it acts a little bit differently to normal curling bombs. They actually output a lot bit more ink, but their explosion radiuses are smaller than before. And if you hold the R button, it does not have the same traits of how normal curling bombs work. The Stingray, they are now 10% weaker than before, and now you are not able to jump back into your spawn and then use a Stingray, because if you do, you'll be pushed out of it instantly. Ink recovery has received a small buff. If you're in kid form and you have no ink, you now recover it 6% faster while just standing around. For little amounts of Special Saver, you'll now receive much more effective results. So as you see in this example, I'm only wearing 1 main of Special Saver, and I have just a little bit more Special Saved. For ink resistance, you now take damage slower than before. As you can see in 3.0, the, I guess, ink around the screen takes a little bit longer to actually pop up. For Opening Gambit, if you get a kill in the first 30 seconds while Opening Gambit is active, or an assist, the time will be extended by 7.5 seconds. So example, if you get 1 kill, you get 7.5 seconds extra. If you get 2 kills and 1 assist, or 2 assists, I guess, it'll be 15 seconds extra. Basically, you just have to kind of keep track of how many kills and assists you get and the math that goes behind it. Haunt works a little bit differently now, but first of all, take note of what each enemy squid is wearing. In version 2.3, they are wearing Respawn Punisher. In 3.0, they are not. Personally, for me, in both examples, I am wearing Haunt. If I was the person to kill who just killed me, then I'll be applying Respawn Punisher effects to that very person. As you see in version 3.0, they take just the same amount of time to respawn, just like how the Respawn Punish person was in version 2.3. With Thermal Ink, if you shoot somebody, you'll now be able to see them through walls for 12 seconds instead of 6. As you see in version 3.0, you can look at this person for a really long time, 12 seconds in total. For Respawn Punisher, increased degree to which the effect of the gear ability Quickest One is nullified from 80 to 85%. With Drop Roller now, you get a boost of run speed, swim speed, and ink resistance for roughly 3 seconds after you have dropped rolled. As you see in 3.0, I am a little faster as I come in from the super jump. With Comeback, there has been a decreased boost stat. It used to be at 1.2, but now it's just at 1 times the value. So what that basically means, it's not 1 main 2 subs, it's now just 1 main. And lastly, with Ninja Squid, the effects provided by a player's swim speed ability has been nullified by roughly 20%. Basically, it's not 5 subs anymore of swim speed to get normal speed. It's about 6 or 7 subs. So that is pretty much all the patch notes that we have received, and I gotta say that I am pretty happy with this patch. We've received a lot of new stuff, and I can tell there's gonna be somewhat of a meta shift in the coming weeks, months, and whenever, I guess, the next patch, or if there will be a next patch. But let's talk about, I guess, the couple things that, I guess, the most important things in this patch that are probably going to shift into the meta. So, starting off with Splash Walls and the 96 Guard. I mean, I've tested out the 96 Guard, I tried it out in a couple of games after the patch came out. And I've got to say, the 96 feels a lot more accurate. It's actually insane. The wall is very, very helpful. Like, it's just wall on demand. Makes it feel so much easier to play. But the only downside about it is that, of course, you throw one wall and then you want to get your next wall out, like, straight away. The downside is that you're not going to have as much ink to, I guess, shoot straight away like you would if you had just waited for the other wall to just deplete. So even if it's a buff, there are downsides, and it's just a thing where people have just got to learn how to play it and get really used to it to, you know, utilize that wall mechanic as much as possible. Speaking of walls, the Gloogadolies and its rolling buff, where it can roll and shoot 13% longer, tested it out, and as you can probably see from the gameplay, it works. It is really, really nice to use, and especially having a wall as well. It's super helpful because you can kind of just like throw a wall and then just go wherever you need to, and if you feel like you're challenged, you just roll behind your wall, and then there you go. You're shooting at like 96 cal range. Maybe not 96 cal range, but somewhat close to there. It feels like the, I guess the extra range that you're given feels pretty long, so... The only downside, of course, with Gloogas is that sometimes they're inaccurate and they just fire very slowly, so, you know, that's just the downside, but... all in all, I feel like the Gloogadolies deco, or just the Gloogadolies in general, feel very, very solid. Speaking of Gloogadolies and its sub-weapon, Ink Mine, basically every weapon in the game that has Ink Mine, it's a time to be alive. Especially, I guess, a weapon that's been, I guess, in the meta for like since the very start of the game, the Rapid Blaster. Ink Mine is something that really slowed that weapon in particular down, but now that it's able to like substrafe just like every other weapon, makes it much faster and makes it much more of a threat. So definitely we're going to see a lot more Rapid Blasters coming into play. Maybe even the Lula Blaster Neo as well, considering that has Ink Mine and has a really good special too, Suction Bomb Rush. So a lot of things that have Ink Mine. Also Dynamo leading into let's talk about the Dynamo as well. Dynamo also being able to paint just a little bit better. I've been hearing a couple of things that it does feel pretty good, but I mean personally right now still I'm not too convinced on Dynamo. Maybe time will tell, but if it is somewhat decent and more people are using it, then it could be a thing that we start seeing more Dynamos, since it is, I mean, it's paying a little bit better too. Now, with a lot of good comes with a lot of bad as well, and it's two things in particular that I guess happened in this patch. Well, two sub-weapons, and that is Curling Bombs and Sprinkler. So first of all, Curling Bombs, the thing that they don't paint as much when you throw them, and I guess the explosion radius is much worse if it's not held. So that's a hit. Especially to Splat Rollers as well. Basically, the Splat Roller in general is taking a massive hit. A very favored thing about Splat Rollers is that they all wear Ninja Squid, which is nerfed a little bit more, so every Splat Roller is gonna have to run even more swing speed than they had to before. Curling Bombs also nerfed, so they aren't as strong as they were before as well. And it's not like written in the main, I guess, special weapons patch notes, but Splashdown has been nerfed as well, with it being much easier to take down. The nerf is due to a network issue, but even just playing last night, it is very easy to take a Splashdown down. I mean, even easier than ever before. So the Splat Roller is really taking a hard hit during this patch. Going on to Sprinklers as well. Sprinklers taking a hard hit, considering it doesn't paint as it normally did. And of course, the Slusher Deco taking hits from absolutely every point. From its special meter going from 200 to 220. The weapon itself is fine, Baller is fine as well, but it's just its Sprinkler and it getting Baller in the first place. So, I mean, Sprinkler helped because it helped you get your special first, but now it's becoming a thing where it's gonna feel like you're not gonna be able to get a special. You're gonna probably have to run a bunch of special charge up just to get it in the first place, and you're probably gonna have a very unhelpful Sprinkler a lot of the time, so it's gonna be much more difficult to actually play Slusher Deco now due to these changes. Oh my god, how could I forget? Okay, still Stingray as well. 10% less damage, which is amazing, because a lot of the time I do feel like Stingray killed really fast, especially when people were able to jump back to spawn and kind of wave it around, which is now also nerfed, which is also a great thing, Stingray being nerfed, because you can't jump back to the spawn and hide in it, and you know, people can just take you out if you're like around your spawn or just using Stingray in any way or pretty much anywhere in the map. So really good nerfs to Stingray. It's much needed, honestly. So I feel like this is something a lot of people really wanted. Personally, I did as well, and you know, I feel like Stingray is probably in a better place now. It's still pretty strong, honestly. Definitely not as strong as before, but can be very helpful in certain maps, especially in Camp Triggerfish. Honestly, I feel like they nerfed it just because of Camp Triggerfish, because it's so easy to actually kind of wave your ray around just to hit people. And it's going to be, of course, good on stuff like Port Mackerel. Not going to be as strong as it used to, but at least we're going to be able to survive a little bit more. We're probably going to take more chip damage and be able to survive, and then people will just have to, like, I guess, communicate to take the people out with who have been damaged. If that makes sense. Sorry, I was kind of rambling there. But the Blaster as well, I forgot to mention, that's also technically been nerfed a little bit from special meter, and it doesn't get splashed down as fast as it did before. So the regular Blaster takes a hit from that, respectively, honestly, since I do feel like it get its special pretty fast. So it's at 170 to 190, and the splashdown's been nerfed as well, so, well, you gotta be more strategic with that. And we're talking about the gear abilities, you know, I feel like a lot of people are going to start using Opening Gambit, especially for splat zones, just to pretty much fish for assists, or the support weapons are going to try to fish for assists. I can definitely see that if someone wants to use Opening Gambit, use a Stingray, just kind of chip damage a lot of people and have your teammates finish them off, and then you get a bunch of, like, or extra time with your Opening Gambit, which would be really nice. So I feel like stuff like that might come into play. Haunted received a buff, but I'm not too sure a lot of people are gonna like go too far into it, mainly because the respawn Punisher effect only affects one person and you always have to die to that person. If you trade with them, I don't even think Haunt will work at that point, so, you know. It's a nice buff, but I feel like Haunt still needs a little extra something for people to have more reason to use it, so. Comeback being nerfed is actually a huge thing. I mean, honestly, 1 main, 2 subs for 20 seconds every time you die, and you pair that with quick respawn. That's insane. I mean, I'm just gonna say that is pretty much insane. Like, you're a superhuman inkling running around the map, which is not that great, honestly, to go against. So, I honestly feel like Comeback was definitely respectable. Drop Roller is really nice, that you can kind of roll into other people's ink for like 3 seconds, feel super powerful, and run really fast and swim fast as well. So, that's a really nice buff to have too. I also want to mention Thermal Ink. Maybe that might be something that more longer range weapons use, because then it'll serve a little bit more purpose. All they need to do is kind of just support their teammates. Like weapons, probably like Jet Squelcher, maybe Heavy Splatling as well. Just get a couple hits on somebody. They can see them for 12 seconds wherever they go. So, I mean, I don't know if like a Thermal Ink meta will be a thing, but we'll just have to see. Well, of course, I already mentioned Ninja Squid as well, being nullified by roughly 20%. It's not the base stat of Ninja Squid. I mean, I think that's still 10% of your swim speed gone, but it's just the, I guess, if the amount of swim speed that you put on is nullified, so it's not going to be 5 subs of swim speed anymore. So I think I'm going to do like a little testing video just to show you guys how Ninja Squid works in this patch. Meaning, I had a big Ninja Squid video. A lot of people watched it, so I gotta, I guess, follow up and say, okay, this is how Ninja Squid is now. So, but that's for stuff for me to do. But anyways, I really like this patch. A lot of interesting things. I feel like we're gonna see a lot more Glugers, a lot more 96s, maybe a few more Dynamos, and a huge increase of Rapid Blasters. So that is pretty much all I've got to say for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like, favorite, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch, both in the description below. Do it for both if you're feeling generous. As always, guys, this has been the SLB2 Dude. I shall see you guys in a future video.